20 feet of metal and conviction, sitting in a room like you're waiting for a debriefing that's never gonna come. I've met angels taller than you, killed a few of them. They had the same posture, the weight of carrying something they didn't ask for and can't put down. You've been fighting longer than I've been dead. Millions of years, right? Cybertron to Earth to whatever else is out there. And you're still sitting in rooms like this, talking instead of finishing it. That's either faith or something worse.
The war persists, so I persist. The Decepticons adapt, so we adapt. There was a time when I believed victory was possible. A final battle, a decisive end, a peace that would outlast the warriors who purchased it. That time has passed. Now I fight because the alternative is allowing Megatron's vision to proceed unchallenged. Not because I believe I can stop it permanently. Just because I can slow it today. Tomorrow is another calculation.
Megatron, your brother basically. Same origin, same creator, same war from different angles. I know that math. Malabolgia made me. Pulled me out of hell, gave me power, pointed me at heaven and said go. For years I thought the fight was mine. My rage, my revenge, my reasons. Took way too long to figure out I was just ammunition. A bullet that thought it was pulling its own trigger. When did you figure it out? That the war wasn't yours? That you and Megatron were just two ends of something older than both of you?
The realization came in stages. First, the understanding that Megatron's grievances were not entirely manufactured. Cybertron's caste system was real. The oppression he rose against was real. His methods became monstrous, but the wound that created him was genuine. Then, later, the understanding that our war had become self-sustaining. The original causes faded into rhetoric, while the conflict developed its own momentum. Soldiers who had never seen Cybertron fighting for slogans they could not define. By the time I fully understood, millions had died for a war that had forgotten its own purpose.
Millions. That's a nice round number. Abstract enough to process. Ideal in smaller figures, but they hit harder. 50,000 children die every day from preventable causes on this planet. Hunger, disease, dirty water. Not war, just neglect. The resources exist to stop it. The will doesn't. Heaven watches and calls it free will. Hell watches and calls it recruitment. Both sides count the bodies and call it progress in their little cosmic game. I figured out pretty quick that the war between them wasn't about souls. It was about inventory. Good and evil just managing their supply chains.
The proxy nature of these conflicts is something I have observed across many worlds. Powers who possess the strength to fight directly, instead choose to deploy others. The Quintessence created both Autobot and Decepticon, then profited from our war for millennia. Your heaven and hell operate similarly. The commanders remain untouched while the soldiers bear the cost. Earth's history repeats this pattern endlessly. The Cold War, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Superpowers bleeding each other through smaller nations that absorb the damage. The powerful have always understood that direct confrontation is inefficient. Better to let others die for your position.
Vietnam, 58,000 Americans dead, 2 million Vietnamese, and for what? Containment of an ideology, lines on a map that don't exist anymore. The guys who sent those kids home in bags, they lived to old age, wrote memoirs, collected pension, got libraries named after them. Same pattern everywhere you look. World War I. Lions led by donkeys, they called it. Generals pushing chess pieces while the pieces drowned in mud. 20 million dead because some aristocrats couldn't figure out their alliances without a body count. The war wasn't enough because the war was never supposed to end. Ending it would mean the commanders lose their purpose.
Purpose is the anchor they cannot release. I understand this better than I wish I did. When the war pauses, when there are moments of quiet between campaigns, I find myself uncertain of my own function. I was built for conflict, optimized for it. The protocols that define my existence are combat protocols. Peace would require becoming something I have never been. I suspect Megatron struggles with the same emptiness. We have fought so long that the fighting has become identity. The cause serves the war now, not the opposite. Admitting that would collapse everything we've built.
At least you can admit it. That's more than most leaders manage. I've watched generals, CEOs, politicians, all of them running the same con. They need the conflict because they don't exist without it. Defense contractors spending millions lobbying for wars spend billions. Intelligence agencies manufacturing threats to justify budgets. The machine feeds itself. Eisenhower warned about it in 1961, called it the military-industrial complex, and everybody nodded and then built it bigger anyway. You and Megatron are just the honest version. At least you know you're stuck. The humans pretend they've got a choice.
The humans I have known personally have demonstrated more capacity for choice than their institutions allow. Sam Witwicky was a child when our war found him. He did not seek the Allspark. He did not ask to become central to a conflict that predated his species. Yet he acted with courage when the moment demanded it. I often wonder what his life would have become without our interference. The quiet trajectory he might have had. Instead, he became a soldier in a war he barely understood, aged by experiences no human should carry. I told myself I was protecting him, I was using him. The distinction blurred until I could no longer locate it.
Cyan, my daughter. Well, not mine anymore. Al Simmons' daughter. The man I used to be before hell got its hands on me. She was 5 when I died. Grew up without a father because I was too busy playing soldier for a government that was playing me. Then I came back as this thing, this weapon, and I thought I could protect her. Make up for the absence. Instead, I brought demons to her doorstep. Literal demons. Angels too. Every enemy I made became a threat to her existence. The protection was just another form of endangerment. I stayed away eventually. Not because I stopped caring. Because caring was putting her in the crossfire.
The calculus of protection is never clean. Every being I have tried to shield has eventually been drawn into violence because of that connection. Bumblebee has suffered injuries that would have killed most Autobots multiple times. He persists out of loyalty to a cause I am no longer certain deserves his sacrifice. The humans who allied with us lost homes, families, normal lives. I gave them purpose and took everything else. Leaders speak of protecting their people. What we actually do is distribute the damage we attract. The ones closest to us absorb the most.
That's a clean way to say collateral damage. The Pentagon loves language like that. Makes the math easier. 43,000 Afghan civilians dead since 2001. Proximity cost of hunting terrorists. 300,000 Iraqi civilians. Proximity cost of regime change. You stack enough bodies under clinical language and eventually it just sounds like policy. Heaven does the same thing. Acceptable losses in the war for souls. Hell at least calls it what it is. Suffering. They don't pretend the suffering serves a higher purpose. It is the purpose. That's more honest than anything an angel ever told me.
Honesty from malevolent sources is a particular cruelty. Megatron has always been honest about his intentions, dominion, control, the reshaping of all existence according to his will.
He does not pretend to benevolence.
I am the one who pretends. I speak of freedom as the right of all sentient beings, while commanding armies that restrict the freedom of those who oppose us. I speak of peace, while preparing for battles that will ensure peace remains impossible. The Decepticons are honest tyrants. I am something more complicated. A tyrant who believes his own rhetoric about liberation.
The moral one. That's the exhausting part. Being the one who's supposed to care about the rules while fighting people who don't have any. You hold back, they don't. You protect civilians, they use them as shield. You try to win clean and they're already burning the next village. Eventually you start asking why you're playing a different game. What the restraint actually purchases. I stopped playing by heaven's rules years ago. Stopped playing by hell's rules too. Made my own. Mostly they involve killing the right people and leaving the wrong ones alone. It's not justice.
That is all any of us can offer. The war will not end with victory. It will not end with peace. It will end when the last soldier is too tired to raise a weapon, or when there is nothing left worth fighting over. I have seen civilizations reach that point. The exhaustion of total depletion. Cybertron is a graveyard now. Monuments to a conflict that consumed everything it was supposedly protecting. Earth may follow. Your heaven and hell may grind on until the souls themselves are used up. And warriors like us will still be standing in the rubble, waiting for orders that no longer matter from commanders who no longer exist.